You're listening to Indepth SEO. In-depth conversations on how search, content, and AI really work.
Welcome to SEO Deep Dive by Indepth SEO. If you're listening to this, you've probably had your morning coffee, you've opened your dashboard, and you've felt that, familiar spike of adrenaline. Or maybe nausea, wondering what changed while you were asleep.
It's the morning ritual, isn't it? What did the algorithm do to me last night? Check.
Exactly. And look, we all know the ground beneath our feet in digital marketing isn't just shifting, it's practically doing parkour at this point.
It really is. I was thinking about this on the way in. I mean, think back to just a couple of years ago. We thought things were moving fast then with, the first big LLMs. But the landscape now, it's a completely different animal. The velocity is just... it's unprecedented.
It is, and that is exactly why we're here today. We are tackling the elephant in the room. Actually, forget the elephant. We're tackling the treadmill, because that is what SEO feels like right now, doesn't it? It's this treadmill that never, ever stops, and someone just keeps cranking up the speed setting every Tuesday.
That's a very apt analogy.
Yeah.
And if you stop running, you don't just stand still. You get thrown off the back.
Precisely. You have got algorithm updates rolling out constantly. You have endless keyword research, and now we have this new pressure of Ask Engine Optimization, or AEO, which is a whole new headache we are definitely going to unpack later. And the reality is, if you were trying to do all this manually, if you were still living in spreadsheet hell, manually checking rankings, manually auditing pages, it's not just hard anymore. It is mathematically impossible.
It is. It's impossible to keep up with the volume and the velocity of data we're dealing with now. You simply cannot hire enough humans to click enough buttons to compete with the machine that moves at the speed of light.
So today isn't just about listing a bunch of cool tools. We're not just going to throw software names at you and say, good luck, subscribe to this. We're going to talk about building a system. We want to help you move from busy work, the clicking, the pasting, the checking, to high-impact strategy. Our topic today is building an SEO automation system that actually works.
And I love that we're emphasizing the actually works part, because there's so much hype out there. There's so much set it and forget it promise in this industry that, usually just leads to disaster.
Oh, absolutely. The magic button approach. Install this plugin and rank #1 forever.
Right. And that's dangerous. What we're defining as SEO automation in, today's context is very specific. It is no longer just simple scripts. It's not just a macro in Excel that highlights duplicates. We are talking about using sophisticated connectors, middleware like Make or Zapier, and true AI agents.
AI agents. That's the buzzword everyone throws around.
Yeah.
But let's be real for a second. Most people hear an agent and they just think of a chatbot that hallucinates. How is this different?
It's very different. We're seeing a shift from simple automation, which is, just doing the same thing over and over, to agentic AI. These are systems that don't just follow a rule you set. They observe patterns, they make suggestions, and in some cases, provided you've given them the keys, they even execute fixes. They have a goal, and they figure out the steps to get there.
That is wild. And look, I play the skeptic here because I know our listener is sitting there thinking, okay, this sounds expensive and it sounds complicated. Why do I need to overhaul my whole process? My spreadsheet works fine.
Does it, though? Really?
Well, it feels safe. But here's the reality check I found in the notes for today. Your competitors are already doing this.
They are.
I was looking at the data from our source stack, and there's a statistic that really jumped out at me. It says 83% of marketers are using AI tools. That sounds like everyone, right?
It's practically everyone. I mean, if you're not in that 83%, you're using a typewriter.
Right. But here's the kicker. Only 4% are using them strategically.
That is the key gap, that 4%.
Exactly. The opportunity lies in being part of that 4%. If you're just using ChatGPT to write a bad email or generate a generic blog post, you're in the 83%. You're just adding to the noise. If you're building a system, you're in the 4%.
Precisely. And the ROI here isn't just about speed. I think people get hung up on, I can do this faster, and yes, you can, but it's mostly about consistency and error reduction. There was a great reference in the sources to a, quote, kind of a J.R.R. Tolkien concept. Shortcuts create long delays.
Shortcuts create long delays. I love that. It sounds counterintuitive when we're talking about automation, which feels like a shortcut.
It does, but think about it. If you automate the wrong thing, or you automate it poorly, like setting up a bot to auto-reply to every comment with thanks, even when the comment is a complaint, you aren't saving time. you're creating a massive mess at scale. You're creating technological debt that'll take you months to dig out of.
Yeah.
So building the system right is what matters.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I think there is a lot of fear wrapped up in this topic. We talk about agents doing the work, and the immediate thought, and be honest, we've all had this thought, is, okay, am I obsolete? Is the SEO specialist going the way of the dinosaur?
It's the elephant in the room, right? The fear factor. If the bot can audit the site, write the brief, and check the ranking, why am I here? But the reality is absolutely not. The role isn't disappearing, it is shifting. We are moving from being the technician, the person turning the wrench, to the strategist, or even better, the pilot.
I like the pilot analogy, but push on that a little bit, because pilots still fly the plane, right?
Do they? I mean, think about a modern pilot flying a commercial jet across the Atlantic. The autopilot handles the cruising. It keeps the plane level, it manages fuel efficiency, it tracks the coordinates, it adjusts for minor wind shifts. That is automation. That's what we want our SEO stack to do.
Okay, so the cruising is the day-to-day stuff.
Exactly. Data collection, rank tracking, finding broken links. But who handles the takeoff? Who handles the landing? And most importantly, who handles the turbulence?
The pilot.
Exactly. When the storm hits, when a Google Core update drops and your traffic tank's 40% overnight, you don't want the autopilot guessing. You want human judgment. You want context. You want someone who can say, okay, the data says this, but the market context is that.
That makes total sense. So we aren't handing over the keys and sleeping in the back. We're monitoring the instruments.
Correct. The consensus in the community, and we saw this in the Reddit threads and SEO forums we looked at, is heavily leaning toward this hybrid model. Automation handles efficiency, humans handle accuracy, tone, empathy, and, search intent.
So let's draw a line in the sand for our listeners. If we're building the system, we need to know what's safe to hand over, what goes on the safe list for automation.
The safe list is growing, but it's still very distinct. First and foremost, data collection and aggregation. Alex, never copy-paste data into a spreadsheet again. If you're hitting CTRL-CTRLV, you are wasting money.
Amen to that. It's soul-crushing work anyway.
It is. Second, technical audits. Finding 404 errors, broken links, redirect chains. Robots are infinitely better at this than we are. They don't get tired, they don't miss a line of code, and they don't get bored after checking 50 pages.
Right. A human might miss a no index tag on page 400. A bot won't.
Exactly. Third is rank tracking and alerts. You shouldn't be checking rankings. That's a passive activity. You should be alerted to changes. Let the news find you.
Fourth,
Content briefs and outlining. Not writing the final piece, we'll get to that, but gathering the research to build the skeleton. And finally, internal linking suggestions. AI is great at seeing the graph of your website, the mathematical relationship between pages, and saying, hey, page A is about coffee beans, and page B mentions coffee beans. You should link them.
Okay, so that's the safe list. It's mostly data, structure, and monitoring. What is the no-go zone? Where do we say no robots allowed?
High-stakes decision-making. Strategy. You don't ask the AI, should we pivot our business model? You don't ask the AI, is this tone offensive? And crucially, the final polish of content. You cannot fake Google's EEAT experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
EAT. We hear it all the time, but why can't AI fake experience? I can tell ChatGPT to act like a plumber with 20 years of experience.
You can.
Yeah.
And it will give you a very convincing caricature of a plumber. But it hasn't held the wrench. It hasn't dealt with the specific frustration of a stripped bolt in a 100-year-old house. That nuance, the I've been there quality, is what humans connect with. And frankly, purely auto-generated content without human review is a massive risk. It's the fastest way to get flagged as low-quality spam by the very algorithms you're trying to please.
So use the tools to build the house, but don't let the tools decorate it.
Or live in it.
Or live in it. I like that. Okay, so we have the philosophy down, the pilot mindset. Let's get into the nuts and bolts. We promised a system, and a system is made of workflows. Let's talk about the must-have automated workflows.
Let's start with the plumbing, the technical side.
Workflow number 1. The self-healing technical audit. Now, I have to pause you here. Self-healing sounds like science fiction, or worse, it sounds dangerous. I've spent years telling clients not to let plugins auto-update because they break the site. Now you're telling me to let an AI agent rewrite my code.
That is a very healthy fear. And let me clarify, we aren't talking about the AI rewriting your PHP core files or, changing your checkout logic. That would be insane.
Okay, good. So where are the guardrails?
The healing is mostly restricted to the surface layer meta tags, schema markup, and internal linking. And even then, the system we are advocating for, the one that actually works, usually operates on a ticket-first basis.
Explain that.
So the old way of doing technical audit was once a month, you run Screaming Frog. You wait 4 hours for the crawl. You export a CSV. You highlight the errors in red. You email it to a developer. The developer archives the email. Nothing happens.
I feel attacked. That is exactly how it used to work. It's the report of doom.
Exactly. The automated way is continuous monitoring. Use tools like Content King or a scheduled crawl and deep crawl. The system is always watching. When it detects a critical error, say a 500 error or a no index tag on a money page, it triggers a webhook.
A money page being like your main product page.
Exactly. If that page drops out of the index, you are losing thousands of dollars an hour. The webhook doesn't just log it. It connects to a tool like Zapier or Make, which then connects to your project management tool, Jira, Trello, Asana.
So it creates a ticket.
It creates a high-priority ticket. But here's the agentic part. It doesn't just say error on page. The AI analyzes the error and populates the ticket with the solution. It says the canonical tag is pointing to a 404. Change the canonical tag to correct URL.
So the developer gets a ping that says, here's the problem, here's the fix, please confirm.
Exactly. It removes the investigation time. It turns a 2-hour diagnostic task into a 30-second approval task.
That I can get behind. It's less self-healing surgeon and more self-diagnosing triage nurse.
That's a perfect way to put it. It stops the boy who cried wolf syndrome because the dev team knows if the bot pings them, it's real and the solution is ready.
Okay, I love that. So that's defense. Let's talk about offense. Workflow number 2. Rank tracking and competitive intelligence. How are we winning?
This is about automating the scoreboard. We all know the tools, SEMrush, SE Ranking, RFs, but most people just log in and stare at the graph, hoping the line goes up and to the right.
The hope strategy.
Right. We want triage automation. We want to set a trigger based on volatility. For example, if a keyword ranking drops below a certain threshold, say you drop from position 3 to position 8, that's a significant drop. That impacts revenue.
That's a traffic killer.
It triggers an action. An alert is sent to Slack or Teams. But, and this is crucial, it's not just a text message saying you dropped. The automation grabs a snapshot of the current SRP and compares it to the previous snapshot.
So it does a diff check.
Exactly. And then an AI agent analyzes that difference. It looks at who overtook you. It analyzes their page and tells you why.
Wait, so the AI can actually figure out the why?
It can make a very educated hypothesis. It might say, competitor X just overtook you. Analysis shows they added a video to their page, they have 40% more content, and they secured a featured snippet.
Wow. So it diagnoses the loss before you even log in.
It's the difference between knowing you were sick and knowing you have the flu. It tells you what to treat. Instead of panicking, you go, okay, we need a video.
That is incredible. That saves hours of detective work. Okay, workflow number 3. This one is near and dear to my heart because I hate doing it manually. Automated reporting.
The time saver.
Monthly reporting week. It's the worst week of the month. You're pulling data from GA4, Search Console, refs, sticking it into a slide deck.
It should be extinct.
Yeah.
If you are copying data from Google Analytics into Excel and then into PowerPoint in 2026, you are wasting your life.
Harsh but true.
You should be using Looker Studio or the built-in My Reports features. Connect the pipes once. But here is the insight layer we talked about. Because, let's be honest, clients, or even your boss, don't read the charts.
They glance at them. They look for green arrows.
Exactly. They want the narrative. So you use an AI connector like Pavi AI, or you build a custom script in Make that sends the data to ChatGPT or Claude. You give it a prompt. Analyze this data. Tell me the top 3 drivers of growth and the top 3 risks.
So the report says traffic is up 10%, specifically because the How to Tie a Tie blog post went viral, not just traffic is up.
Exactly. And it writes that summary in plain English.
Yeah.
It reallocates your best employees' time. Instead of spending 10 hours copy pasting, they spend 10 hours analyzing the strategy and saying, okay, the tie post went viral. How do we sell more ties on that page?
That is the definition of moving from technician to strategist.
Precisely.
Okay, so we have the foundation. We are monitoring, we are tracking, we are reporting. Now we need to create. Let's move to part 3, the content engine. From idea to draft. Keyword research is another one of those things where you can get lost in the weeds for days.
Analysis paralysis. You have a list of 5,000 keywords. Now what?
How do we automate that without just creating a mess?
We'll automate the clustering.
Clustering. Break that down for the listener who might know the term but not the mechanics.
So in the old days, you would write one page for best running shoes, and another page for top running sneakers, and another for running shoes reviews. Today, Google knows those are all the same thing. They have the same search intent.
Right. If you write 3 pages, you're just cannibalizing yourself.
Exactly. Clustering is using an algorithm to group those keywords. It uses vector embeddings, basically turning words into math to see how close the meanings are. Tools like Keyword Insights, Writer's Zen, or the clustering features in SEMrush do this automatically. You feed it 1,000 keywords, it churns. And it spits out a content calendar of maybe 50 specific topics.
That turns a messy list into a clean action plan. Write these 50 pages and you cover the market.
Instantly.
I love that. And once we have the plan, we need the brief. I feel like the content brief is the unsung hero of SEO if you give a writer a bad brief.
You get a bad article. It's garbage in, garbage out.
So how do we automate the brief composer?
This is a beautiful workflow. The trigger could be selecting a new keyword in your project management tool, like Airtable. You click a checkbox that says Generate Brief. That trigger fires a webhook to sends that keyword to an AI tool like Phrase, Surfer, or a custom LLM chain.
And what is the AI doing? Is it just guessing?
No, and this is key. It scrapes the top 10 results currently ranking for that keyword. It looks at the winners. It analyzes their H2s, their H3s. It counts word frequency. It looks at the people also ask questions. And it generates a detailed outline based on empirical data, not a hallucination.
So it tells the writer, to win, you need these 5 headers, you need to answer these 3 questions, and you need to be roughly 1,500 words.
Exactly. And it pushes that outline right back into the Airtable record.
That is magic. But I want to get specific here because we have a really interesting case study in the notes about Harshit Tyagi and Gumloop.
Yes, the Gumloop case study. This is fascinating.
This guy sounds like a wizard. He built what sounds like a content factory. But I want to understand the mechanics. You mentioned Gumloop. What is that?
Gumloop is a no-code AI flow builder. Think of it like a visual circuit board for AI. You drag and drop nodes onto a canvas and connect them with wires.
Like Legos for logic.
Exactly. So Harshit didn't just say, write me an article. He built a pipeline with distinct stages. Let's walk through the nodes because this answers the quality question. Node 1 is the scraper. He feeds it a URL or a topic, and it goes out and gets raw info. Node 2 is the research agent. This is critical. It's not a writer. Its only job is to read the scraped content and identify gaps. What is missing here?
So it's a critic.
It's a critic. Then it passes those gaps to Node 3. Node 3 is the Perplexity API node.
Perplexity being the search engine that cites sources.
Correct. This node goes out to the live web real-time to find facts and citations to fill the gaps identified by Node 2, and only then does it go to Node 4, the writer.
So by the time the writer node gets involved, it has a stack of verified research and citations.
Exactly. It's not hallucinating a study. It's being handed a PDF and told, summarize this.
That solves the biggest bottleneck in AI content, trust.
It does. Harshit calculated that this service usually costs about $5,200 to produce manually at that volume. He did it for a fraction of the cost, and the quality was high because of that multi-step architecture.
He didn't just ask a bot a question. He built an assembly line.
Yeah, he was the architect.
That brings us perfectly to part 4, the glue. We keep mentioning Make, Zapier, Gumloop. We call these connectors.
Or middleware.
Okay, let's unpack this, because for a lot of people, this is the scary technical part. I'm not a coder. I don't know what an API is. How do these tools actually talk to each other?
Think of an API, application programming interface, as a waiter in a restaurant. You are the customer, and the kitchen is the database, like SEMrush or Google. You don't go into the kitchen and cook. You tell the waiter at the API, I want the ranking data for this keyword. The waiter goes to the kitchen, gets the data, and brings it back to you.
And middleware, like Make, is the manager directing all the waiters.
That's a great way to view it.
Yeah.
Make creates the logic. If the waiter brings back a steak, which is the ranking data, take it to table 4, which is Google Sheets.
But what happens when the waiter drops the tray? We need to talk about error handling, because if I set this up and the API fails, does my whole business just stop?
This is where the actually works part comes in. You have to build in error handling. In Make, you can set up a router. If the API call to SEMrush fails, maybe their server is down, you create a path that says wait 15 minutes and try again. Or send an email to the host saying the report failed.
So you don't just let it fail silently.
Never. A silent failure is a system killer. You need to know when the pipes are clogged.
And what about costs? We're hitting these APIs. SEMrush charges for API credits. OpenAI charges for tokens. Does this get expensive?
It can. You have to be careful. If you set up a loop that checks 10,000 keywords every hour, you will bankrupt yourself in a day. You need to be efficient. Only check what you need to check. Use filters in Zapier to say, only run this workflow if the ranking changed by more than 3 positions. Don't run it for every little wobble.
Smart. Now, what if you are a spreadsheet warrior? What if you live and die by Excel or Google Sheets and you refuse to use these fancy node builders?
Then you need Spreadsheet AI. Tools like numerous.ai or Sheet AI.
How do those work?
They basically bring the API right into the cell. You know how you type SUM A1.A10?
Sure.
With these tools, you type AI. Write a meta description for this product A2.
Whoa. So the prompt is the formula.
Exactly. So imagine you have an e-commerce store with 500 products. You have the product name in column A. In column B, you write that AI formula. You drag it down 500 rows.
And it just populates.
It pops.
Yeah.
500 unique, optimized descriptions in about 30 seconds.
That is a game changer for e-commerce.
It is. But again, watch your token usage. 500 rows is fine. 50,000 rows might cost you a bit.
Fair warning. Okay, we have covered the foundation, the content, and the glue. Now, let's look forward. What is the cutting edge? Part 5, Agentic AI and AEO.
This is where we move beyond if this, then that. We're moving to systems that think.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Agentic AI, we mentioned it at the top. What is a prime example of a tool doing this right now?
Search Atlas and their OTO SEO agent.
Oh,
It's described as autopilot SEO, and they really mean it. It can autonomously perform technical audits, which we've discussed. But here is the kicker. It can apply the fixes.
it fixes the site, like it logs into WordPress.
Effectively, yes. It integrates with your CMS. It finds a meta tag that is missing. It writes it. It queues it up. You say yes. It publishes it to the site.
So it bypasses the login, navigate to page, click edit, scroll down, paste, click update, dance.
Exactly. That click tax is gone. It handles the grunt work. You are just the approver.
That brings us back to the pilot analogy. The plane is flying itself. You are just checking the instruments.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about the other acronym. AEO, Ask Engine Optimization, or LLMO.
This is the biggest shift right now. Search isn't just Google's blue links anymore. It's ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude. People are asking questions, not searching keywords.
So how do we optimize for a chatbot? Does it care about backlinks?
It cares about facts and structure. We need to talk about schema and JSON-LD.
Okay, get technical. What does that mean for the listener?
JSON-LD is a code language that sits in the background of your page. It explicitly tells the robot what is on the page. This is a product. The price is $50. The rating is 4.5.
It's like a name tag for data.
Yes, but for AEO, we need to go further. We need to structure content as an answer key. If you want to rank in ChatGPT's answer, you need to spoon-feed it.
How?
We look at tools like Nitro SEO, which focuses on adaptive SEO. It automatically injects conversational schema. It highlights the Q&A pairs on your page so clearly that when an LLM scrapes the page, it goes, here's the answer to the user's question, and ingests it.
So you are formatting your content to be machine readable first, human readable second?
Well, ideally both. But you are removing the ambiguity for the machine. You're making it easy for the AI to cite you.
And does anyone help us measure this? Because we have rank trackers for Google. Do we have rank trackers for ChatGPT?
We do now. HubSpot's AI Search Grader. It's a tool specifically designed to check your brand's visibility in AI search engines. It tells you when someone asks about best CRM, does ChatGPT mention HubSpot?
That is going to be a standard metric in every boardroom by the end of the year. What is our AI share of voice?
Guaranteed.
Before we move to implementation, I want to touch on the local shop owner. The pizza place, the plumber. This all sounds very enterprise. Is there automation for them?
Absolutely. Local SEO is tedious because of all the citations and reviews. There's a tool called Page by Merchant.
Page.
But they call it Page automates Google Business Profile Management. It replies to reviews automatically. But smart replies, not just generic ones. It posts updates, it manages citations, it keeps the open-closed hours synced across platforms.
So the business owner can bake pizza instead of fighting with Google Maps.
That is the goal.
I love it. Okay, we have the vision, we have the tools. Now let's talk about how to actually do this without blowing up our websites. Part 6, implementation and governance.
This sounds great, but it can be overwhelming. Where do I start?
What is the roadmap?
We recommend the crawl, walk, run approach. Don't try to build the Harsha Tyagi supernode system on day one. You will break something.
Start simple. Phase 1.
Phase 1, weeks 1 to 4, is the crawl phase. Configure the basics, set up Google Search Console alerts, get a basic site audit tool running like Screaming Frog or Content King. Just get the data flowing. Don't automate fixes yet, just automate the detection.
Okay, phase 2.
Weeks 4 to 8, the walk phase. Automate reporting, get the data coming to you, set up that Looker Studio dashboard, get the email alerts set up. Stop logging into tools every day, free up your time.
And phase 3.
Month 3 and beyond, the run phase. That's when you get into content workflows and agentic AI. That's when you start using Make to generate briefs. That's when you look at OTTO.
So what does this all mean? It means take it slow. But we have to talk about the risks. Governance.
Governance is the unsexy hero of automation.
Is it?
It has to be. Because with automation, the risk is garbage in, garbage out, but at light speed.
Right. If you automate a mistake, you repeat it 1,000 times a second.
Exactly. Imagine automating a redirect rule in your middleware that says, redirect all 404s to the home page. But you configure it wrong, and it starts redirecting every page to the home page.
You've just de-indexed your entire site.
In minutes, before you even wake up.
That is a nightmare scenario.
Is it?
So how do we prevent the Skynet moment?
Human in the loop. We call it HITL.
HATL.
You need an approval step. For anything that affects the live site like redirects or meta changes, the automation should stop at a gate. It sends a message to Slack with a button, approve, deny.
So nothing goes live until a human clicks that button.
Exactly. The bot does the prep, the human pulls the trigger. Treat your SEO changes like software code. Stage them, review them, deploy them.
That's a massive mindset shift for marketers who are used to just winging it in WordPress.
It is, but it's necessary for survival.
One final question on implementation. Does size matter? Enterprise versus SMB?
It does. The principles are the same, but the tool capabilities differ.
If I'm a small business,
Focus on RankIQ or Surfer for content. Low cost, high impact. Use SE ranking for tracking. It's affordable and powerful. You probably don't need complex middleware.
and if I'm an enterprise, Coca-Cola, Nike,
You need the heavyweights, Bright Edge or Conductor.
why? Why pay the premium?
Because of the governance we just talked about. They handle role segregation, who is allowed to change what. You don't want the intern changing the meta description on the homepage. And they handle massive data processing. Bright Edge has DataCube X. They can handle millions of pages. Smaller tools will just crash or time out.
Got it. So match the tool to the scale.
Precisely.
This has been densely packed. Let's recap the journey. We moved from manual audits, the spreadsheet of doomed to self-healing sites that ticket their own errors. We moved from guessing keywords to clustered content plans that map out the strategy using vector math.
And we moved from checking rankings to managing AI agents that optimize for the ask engines using structured data.
The key takeaway for me is this. Automation isn't about being lazy. It is the only way to scale in this environment. It buys you the time to be creative.
It buys you the time to be human.
I love that. So before we sign off, I know you always have a final thought for us, something to chew on.
I do. And this connects to the bigger picture. We are moving toward a world where your website might self-optimize in real time based on who is visiting it. Not just A/B testing, but real-time fluid generation.
Like a living organism.
Exactly. The static website, the brochure on the web, is dying. The future is a living, breathing system managed by AI agents, with you as the architect. So the question is, are you ready to stop being the bricklayer and start being the architect?
Oof, that is a heavy question to end on. Stop laying bricks, start designing the building.
That's the job.
Well, on that note, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope your brain is buzzing as much as ours are. Pick one flow, just one, and automate it this week. See what happens.
Start with the reporting. It's the easiest win.
There you go. Expert advice. Thanks for listening, and we will see you in the next deep dive.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to In-Depth SEO. If this episode added a new perspective, visit indepthseo.com for more thoughtful conversations on how search really works.